So we have a sell-off going on, a forced liquidation of crypto market. It is Saturday, Jan 31st. I'm speaking at about 2:30 Central. So the crypto crash intensified as liquidations hit about $1.6 billion, and the total market of crypto, the total market cap dropped by about $3 trillion or so. Bitcoin falling into the mid 70s, Ethereum falling near 2,300, Solana dropping, I believe, about 100 or so. Right now, Bitcoin's about 77, Ethereum's about 2364, Solana's about 100 even. So the deeper analysis for this is, there's been some reports. A market letter from Pantera Capital reviewed how 2025 turned into a harsh year, with many altcoins being taken down from their peaks, and how forced liquidations could occur. I'm seeing some articles from Kraken, 2016 Outlook, pieces together how macro conditions, shifting liquidity, over leverage, mature ETFs and derivatives shaping this drawdown here. So overall, we've got some pretty bullish flags here. Now, as you can see, we've got these massive red candles here. The same thing we saw in precious metals, we're seeing in crypto. Only now it's happening over the weekend. So that means if you're holding options on Friday, expecting that it might recover, this liquidation happened over the weekend. So you'll wake up on Monday and either you'll be very in the money if you bought puts, or you'll be very out of the money if you bought calls. I said on one of my earlier videos that I would be thinking to buy calls. I said I would buy calls if it hits this mid 70 range, and I said I would buy them probably for like Feb 20 or March 20. So probably on Monday, I'm going to probably pick up some calls. So I'm going to probably pick up some puts that are dated for Feb 20, March 20, something like that. And I'm going to pick them up near the money, near 77. That's my play. You can take that play, or something else. But we can see these on the volume delta. We can see these massive institutional sell-offs here. These are big institutions placing sell orders to drive down the price, beating out any potential bullish support. Same thing we saw here. Now this is giving us a head and shoulders, but I'm going to say I'm bullish on this. You got the same flags here. Red, very, very tall red candles. You get a little bit of a green, but all that's doing is just kind of stabilizing the price. It's not bringing it back up. So they're saying that it could recover to 109. I'm guessing that could happen, but long term, I see it being pretty bearish. Same here on Ethereum. The red candles winning out, pushing that price lower. There are some green candles trying to keep it steady. So right now we're holding at about 23, 24. Might bounce back a little bit, but I'm expecting long term we should get some falls, right? So let's take a look at some of these articles.
For Yahoo Finance's Market Minute, the S&P 500 and NASDAQ point to another down session here for tech stocks. U.S. stocks sliding as President Trump nominates Kevin Warsh to lead the Federal Reserve against a backdrop of a rising dollar and tumbling gold. Unity Software, Roblox, and Take-Two Interactive all sliding after Google unveils Project Genie, the early research prototype that lets users create a world, build a character, and explore a landscape that builds itself in real time around you. The prototype is currently available to Google AI Ultra subscribers in the U.S. And lastly, Visa reporting first quarter earnings that slightly beat analyst estimates. Revenue also topping expectations. However, Morgan Stanley highlighting expense growth coming in slightly higher in the quarter. Meanwhile, management maintains 2026 guidance. Truist pointing to assumptions around FX volatility feeling conservative. And that's your Yahoo Finance Market Minute. Scan the QR code below to track the best and worst performing stocks of the trading session.
And that didn't really give us much information, but I can read it here. Crypto influencer has predicted Bitcoin could fall to 30,000. I agree. I think it could fall to 30,000. I don't know if it's going to fall that low this year, but it's possible. This is a global market crash, so everything's crashing right now. The dollar's crashing, crypto's crashing, precious metals are crashing. So we're seeing a lot of volatility right now. Technical signals have reinforced the bearish outlook. Analysts and prominent market commentators have warned a deeper loss for Bitcoin following the violent sell-offs across global financial markets that wiped out trillions of dollars in value. On Thursday, a well-known crypto bitlord warned that it could fall to 30. Yeah, we just said that. Benjamin Cowan, founder of Crypto Analytics, and the Cryptoverse echoed the bearish outlook, saying Bitcoin's weakness aligns with historical trends. Now, if we just ask the question, how many altcoins exist, right? Let's just ask that question. How many altcoins exist? 29 million different cryptocurrencies, right? So we've got a bare minimum of 10,000 that have some value or are active, and a total of 29 million that might be like, inactive or something like that. So what does that mean? That means that Bitcoin is not really a scarce asset. You've got thousands and thousands of alternative cryptocurrencies chasing the same wallets, the same customers, chasing the same type of transactions to send money independently. So I would argue that even though the specific Bitcoin, hash network is, unique to Bitcoin, because there's been so many altcoins that came out that it's actually not really that much of a scarce asset. There's new cryptos coming out every year. There's Ethereum, which is much more usable than Bitcoin. There's Solana, which is much more cheaper than Ethereum, right? You've got Ripple. Let's say how many Satoshis in one Bitcoin? So there are 100 million Satoshis in one Bitcoin. So if you think about it, there's no fundamental price for Bitcoin, right? Because the divisibility allows for microtransactions, enabling users to buy or send fractions of a full Bitcoin. So what this sort of means is that as the price of Bitcoin goes up, people might start transactioning Satoshis, but it also means that because it's so divisible, that it might actually just become a very, cheap micro currency. It could go down, and these Satoshis could be basically microcents or nanocents, and they could just be used for things like metering different digital products. Maybe think of it like buying AI compute or cloud compute or tipping people. There's no fundamental price on it, other than the dollar, right? If the dollar hyperinflates, obviously Bitcoin would rise with it. Let's say how many Bitcoins are supplied annually. So approximately 164,250 new Bitcoins are supplied annually, calculated at a rate of 3.125 Bitcoin per block, established in April 2024, with roughly 144 blocks mined per day. This supply will continue to decrease 50% every 4 years, with a total cap of 21 million until a final fractional coin is mined in 2140. So this is not actually a scarce asset when you think of it that way. The way the program is built, right now you got 164,000 bitcoins created out of thin air every year, and that will continue to happen at a decreased rate for the next 100 years, right? So there's no hard cap on the supply of Bitcoin. So it's not necessarily a scarce asset yet. It might become somewhat scarce, but you got 100 years of runtime before that happens. The next halving is expected in 2028. So the price could go up in 2028, and the price has been going up largely because of these halvings, right? The first one would have been sometime in like 2008 or 2009. Then you would have saw another one in like 2012, something like that. And then you would have saw another one in like 2015, 2016. You saw another one in like 2024, right? So these halvings are kind of causing the price to go up because the supply is going down. But that's going, as Bitcoin becomes a derivative asset, as you open up ETFs, how many Bitcoin ETFs are there? There are 11 approved Bitcoin spot ETFs, and there are approximately 32 to 34 products around Bitcoin right now. You've got BlackRock. Okay, let's see here. We got a list of them. We've got IBIT, FBTC, GBTC. So what should you be doing right now? If I was right now, I would go ahead and buy some puts on IBIT. So let's see, IBIT puts. Let's check for Feb 20. So I would take a look at some of these puts. This is not the chart I want to see. Maybe we'll try Tasty Trade. I gotta open up an account. Let's try Trade Station. Open up an account. Oh, here we go. Yahoo. All right. So Feb. Puts. There are no puts. Interesting. I don't know what's going on with this options trade. Oh yeah, puts. And we're gonna say Feb 20. Okay, I'm going to just pick this 54 put right here. Volume not available. Interesting. I'm not sure why it's not showing the volume, but yeah, I would definitely consider some puts on this. We've got Solana at 126 back in Jan 24. Now we're at 100. Right, with Bitcoin, if we look, we were at, let's go out on the 1 month, we were at 94 on Jan 5th, got up to about 96, right? So if you would have bought a put on Jan 14 at 97 and it drops down to 77, that's 11%. So that put would have probably got you at least, double, triple your money, something like that. Maybe more, depending on which put you bought, what strike price. So my recommendation, go ahead and, when Monday opens, go ahead and buy some puts. Feb 20, March 20. Take advantage of some of this volatility. Yeah, that's my update. A little bit of a hectic weekend, start of the weekend. So if you were holding Bitcoin, if you were holding crypto, you probably are holding a lot less value right now. So if you want to make some of that money back, go ahead, try to buy some puts.